All right, this is a recording of a mastermind that I did with a group of agents from across the country talking about ways that they're generating listings right now. The first part of this, I'm going to share some of the ideas and things that I'm doing, and then you're going to hear me incorporate some of the agents from across the country so that we can get a broad variety of the ideas on how you can grow your business and generate more leads. Let's get to it. All right, we're going to go through some specific lead generation strategies that I'm seeing right now. Now, what I did is I did a sales meeting locally with 25 of them few weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago. And what I've done is I've boiled this down to the ones that I'm seeing and also brought in some help with some people that are also seeing some things. So first, we're going to start with 3 to 6 month old expired listings. As we're seeing more things around the country expired listings wise, we know that people get an onslaught of people calling them the day that something expires. What I want to talk to you about is those 3 to 6 month, 12-month old expires and what's the strategy you can do. Because typically, we know as agents, we have a plan where we're calling them. If they are able to fend off all the agents and not relist their property in a month, odds are, especially if they haven't relisted or sold in 3 to 6 months, they're still open to selling. They just haven't had the opportunity, and now there's a little bit more opportunities. David Childers shared this stuff back at the first of the year. This was just the first week, just to get you an idea of what the opportunity is. And this only continues to grow as we see the market and we see the inventories continuing to rise across the country. So in 2024, there were 129,000. The first week of 2024, 129,000 expired listings. First week of 2025, 135,000. Y'all, if you just go back to the first week of this year, here we are, we're basically 5 months away since that, 5 months and a week. You're going to have 135,000 opportunities on the low end to 149,000 that happened just on that 1 week. Now, if you go out there and you extend out into the fall of last year, you're going to see a tremendous amount of opportunities in your local area. Couple of things. These are slides. If you want these slides, I can get them to you that David Childers had shared that they got from RedX. They got these documents from RedX, but basically half of expires that relisted and half did not. Okay, so and this is on the annual basis for 2024. Okay, so if we're looking at this, what is the opportunity that we have? Another part of this, and this is kind of the selling side of this opportunity when you're talking to those that have expired that may say, well, we're thinking about just relisting with our existing agent. Well, now those that did relist, as far as a percentage, only 42% actually sold that relisted. 58% actually did sell. But here's where it really breaks down. Of that 58% that did relist, 71.2% that relisted with a new agent, new fresh ideas, new marketing. 71.2% of those sold. Only 51.7% of those that relisted with the same agent sold. So if you break this down, that is a 40% increase in the opportunity for someone to sell their house if they just list with another agent on average, okay? So this is something that you can utilize when you're sitting in there. Hey, listen, the worst thing you can do is list with the same person because they're going to do the same things they've done. And odds are, if we look, you got a 50-50 chance of having the same results. So this is something that we can utilize when we're doing this. Again, if you want these, just email me. I'll send these over to you, these slides. But this is that most relisted, sold at a lower price. Also, you have to understand there are certain listings that took off the market, did the repairs, did the upgrades they needed to do, and they actually sold for a higher price. Actually, 14.5% sold for a higher price than what they were listed at before. 4.9% sold at the expired price, but a clean 80.6% sold at the lower price. So when you're thinking about it, when you're sitting there with that person and you're talking about strategy-wise, the worst thing they can do is list it for the same price. They either need to do repairs or they need to go ahead and get their price adjusted to a place where it will sell to put themselves basically in the water where they can catch the current going in the direction they want it to go. So that's a little bit on that. There's a couple things here I want to share with you. This is kind of a script for calling old expired listings. Hey, this is your name with your company. I saw where you had your home for sale and took it off the market last year. I'm just curious if you're planning to sell it this year. And just be quiet and let them talk. You'll be amazed at what they'll say, okay? They have not been getting the 50 calls they got the day they expired. They haven't gotten a call probably in a month or so. So now you're going to have a fresh opportunity to really step in and do some, give them some value there. Also, Jimmy Mackin, who we had on a couple weeks ago, one of the things he did, and I'm going to show you one of the letters he's been utilizing that you can just model after. And again, I'll get all these slides to you if you want them. is he talks about the PAS framework for marketing success. The first thing you need to do is when you're doing direct mail, make sure you're recognizing their pain. The second thing is you want a little bit of agitating their pain. And then what you want to do is you want to give them a solution. So I'm going to show you this in, this is kind of one of his examples. Okay. I'm going to slide this over where I can see better. This is the one that he kind of a letter that you could model after. And all this stuff is in listing leads. It says, dear, whatever their name is, it's been 535 days since you listed your property on 123 Main Street. All right, let's see if I can get Kelly muted. Hang on one second. Also, at this point, you might feel stuck. So basically, it's been, at this point, you might feel stuck, wondering if listing again is worth the risk. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. So basically, what he's done is he's named their pain. They didn't sell their house. He's agitated a little bit about, or do you even know what you want to do? And then prior writing this letter, I did some research on your property and the conditions around it when it was listed, and came across some interesting data that I want to know if I were you. Want to know if I were you. 85 homes like yours have sold in your area since then. And here's the part that might surprise you. 60 of them sold for more than your original list price. A lot has changed since April 2023. This is a more personalized letter, but it will get a better result. So I have to ask, is it a crazy idea to revisit the thought of listing? If you're open to a conversation, call or text. I look forward to hearing from you. And even if we don't decide to work together, I'd love to share a few suggestions to help you avoid this frustration in the future. This is a powerful letter that you can utilize when you're thinking about out to these 6 to 12-month-old expired listings. And I have to tell you, I think this opportunity goes up. I don't know about y'all. I did it. I was successful at it. But calling expired listings the day that they expired sucked, because they were literally like, who are you? You're just another one of those callers. A lot of hangups, a lot of people that were upset because of the situation. It had nothing to do with me. I was just a dog they could kick. This is a way to find those folks that they've settled down. They don't have as much, you don't have as much competition, and really add some value. So that's one of those. Next up, buyers as bait, little help post. Specifically, I'm going to talk about this, okay? So this is a post that you could make on social media. Little help, please. I have a great couple that is looking to move to our area, but we haven't been able to find the perfect home for them yet. They are looking for, get very specific. You can do bullet points. They're looking to be in this area, this square footage, this price range, whatever it is, the more specific you are. And then the call to action on this is going to be pretty simple. DM me if you know of someone that may be considering selling, that might be a win-win for them as well as for these buyers. Or share this with someone that you know that is considering selling, to see if they might want to reach out to see if this could be a win-win for them and also for these buyers. So these are some ways to utilize your buyers. Right now, buyers are, if you've got an active buyer that's ready to go, utilizing them to uncover opportunities, not just to get them the house that they're looking for, but to uncover potential listing opportunities, is a great way to do this, okay? And I kind of put in this, a little bit additional information. They are looking for, and they may be willing to pay a premium for the right place. If you know of someone you know that is getting ready to sell their home, please DM me, or maybe we can find a way for these buyers and someone like you, a win-win for those. So that's kind of the end of that. I also wanted to share this. Now, we can do this with posts. This is actually, Josh, are you on? I don't know if Josh is on or not, but I'm going to share this with Josh, what he did. And if not, I've got something I want to have him share about a little bit later. But what this is actually a post that Josh did with a specific buyer. He was looking for land. Some of you may have seen this because I've shown this to a number of people. This post is not, it's not cringy. This is something where, like, Josh, play to your strengths. We're going to hear just a little bit from Courtney. Courtney plays to her strengths. Josh with this is playing to his strengths, and it is uncovered and led to a number of different listings for him. I'm going to play the first of this just so you can kind of hear it, okay? Let's see if I can get this to play. Hold on one second. Let me share this where y'all can hear it real quick. Let me share my sound. All right, then I want y'all to let me
tell you about today that could create an opportunity for you or someone you know to maximize their land's value. Buyer number one.
Did y'all hear that? I just want to make sure y'all could hear that. If you could. Okay. So basically what we're doing is we're being very just straightforward. Now it's covering two things. Number one is your buyer's going to love it because you're going to talk to them from a standpoint of just saying, hey, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to uncover the best opportunities for you. And sometimes those may be places that are not on the market. This is the marketing campaign. This is a great way to lock your buyers in. The second thing you've done is now that you've put it out there, you'll be amazed at how many people will reach out. The call to action on this, because we've talked about this in the past, the call to action is going to be share this with someone you know that might be considering selling. Or share this with someone you know, like in this case, it was land that has land they might consider selling. The share is the key, but just be thinking from a standpoint of how can you utilize the assets you have. And I'm going to tell you right now, a buyer that's ready and willing and able in this market environment is an asset. Take full advantage of that opportunity. Okay. All right. Let me just go back here. Let's see. Let me stop my share. Let me go back over here and get this back on again because it was pausing there. All right.
I
next
have
up.
two.
Also, there are some mailers that you can do, okay, on these buyers as bait. This is, they call it the magic letter. This is another one that maybe y'all saw that we talked a little bit about with Jimmy Mackin the other day. This is basically, if you're in for your forever home, again, he's hitting a pain point. Ignore this letter. You know, he's basically calling it out. However, if you're open to the idea of potentially selling your home, I have information that might be valuable to you. My client is actively searching for. You'll notice he gets very specific on what they're looking for. The more specific you are, typically the better the results on the response we get. Even if you're months away from deciding whether to sell your home, it would still be worth having a brief conversation. We've assisted 153 clients in buying and selling in the last 12 months, and we'd love to help yours. This is a great letter. Again, if you're looking for something on utilizing your buyers, if they know they want to be in a specific neighborhood, this is a great way to cast a net and find some opportunities for some potential listings. All right. Also on the call side, as far as that goes, what we're looking at here is literally, this is your name with your company. I'm calling because I have a client looking to buy a home or in your neighborhood, and I'm doing everything I can to see if I can help them find the ideal home. They said if they find the right one, they may be willing to pay a premium. Have you heard of anyone in your neighbors that may be considering selling? I promise you, they will tell you if they're considering selling, but this is a great way to kind of avoid that where you're just asking them if they want to sell, okay? And then the magic question at the end of this, after you talk to them, if they don't bring theirs up, I always utilize this anytime I'm having interaction with homeowners that their house has not come up. Hey, listen, I'd be the worst realtor in the world if I didn't at least ask if there's a price where you guys might consider selling. You'd be amazed, and then just be quiet. You'd be amazed at what will happen once you do utilize that magic question, okay? All right, keep it on moving. Deal of the week email. I say this all the time. This is an example of this. Your database, a great way to re-engage your database is to highlight a deal of the week. You want to have this with a couple of things. You want it to have the same headline every week. So it may be 30A deal of the week. It may be whatever it is, Dallas deal of the week. And then in the actual part that we're looking at, this week's deal of the week is a home in Santa Rosa Beach with amazing Gulf and lake views and unmatched outdoor living spaces. Key highlights, 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. This is actually one that actually did get someone that requested additional information from that the person who sent this out, he had not heard from his database from that person in his database in over 8 months. They raised their hand and said, I'd like more information, because what we did is we did the bullet points, and then at the bottom, if you're interested, just reply. We made it super easy, very frictionless opportunity for them to get more information. They sent back and said, I'm interested. I don't know if Joey Kaz is on, but he can comment on that. But this is a great way to do this. This was originally done by Sharon Srivatsa. If you just pull up Deal of the Week, Sharon Srivatsa, he's got videos that'll teach you how to do this. But this is a great way to do this also. Now, another way to do this is a Deal of the Week post. No, so if you're doing social media, a great way to do this is to do this with posts. I'm going to share this with you. This is a guy that actually, any of y'all know Jay Johnson? This is Jay. Jay does these Deal of the Weeks locally. Now listen, he makes me sound like I am from New York, okay? So let me just play this for you.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that Friday find. This week, you'll find me in Seagrove Beach, Florida, 31 on 30A. Where are you watching from today? Let's hear it in the comments below.
Now, here's the great thing. What Jay does, and I'm not going to play these other videos, is he goes through and gives 3 things that he loves about the place every week. And then what he does a call to action of, hey, if you'd like more details, reach out. He asks them to comment. He does a few things. Now, one of the things you'll notice here, the reason why these do so well for him, 98 shares. His comment to me was, Jimmy, I think people are making fun of me. They are. But they're absolutely making fun of you in a way that's helping you go to the bank, brother. So just keep doing it. So Find what it is for you. He does a Friday find. I mean, literally, he makes the word Friday have 6 syllables. But whatever it is for you, it could be, your midweek best value. It could be the investor special of the week for your area, whatever it is. Vary the price points you're doing as you're doing this, because you will find ones that are certain price points that do especially well for your group. So that's the Friday. That's the Friday find. That
Jimmy,
is the deal of the week. Yes.
Jimmy, I got a question about that. Because I'm doing that through constant contact. So I've got it set up to where I'm generating 6 to 7 emails, one every day. Now, does the word deal have to be in it? Because I'm kind of using Jay's kind of verbiage in the fact that I call mine Forgotten Coast Find of the Week, and I'll send it to my Mexico Beach. I'll find one in Mexico Beach. I'll send it to those buyers. I'll send Cape Sandblast in my database. I'll send them that one, and I do that for Carabel and St. George Island, and then I take within constant contact. I then repurpose those to my social media platforms. But I'm not doing any, and it's a static image with the verbiage and all like that. I'm not doing what Jay's actually doing, where he's going out there and putting his face and voice out there. I mean, is that a good strategy, or should keep doing it? I mean, it's easier for me in terms of time.
Alan, I would say on the email portion, look, Sharon's done over 100,000 of these. He's tested all the data. The couple things that he says that you need to make sure of is no images on the email, because you want them to have a reason to call you. You don't want to give them the address on that. You just want to give them the general ideas. On the social side, everybody on social is visual in a lot of cases. So whether it be a carousel or it's just a static post of you doing a video kind of the same way, but you don't want to give too much away. The reason Jay's, in my opinion, is unique and does so well is because of its Jay. You know what I mean? A lot of that is if I were doing Jay's, I don't know that it performs as well. So finding what it is for you. And so, Alan, what I would say is there's not a right or wrong answer here. I think it's all testing on the individual. So I would just vary it a few times. Do the data. What's your open rates? What are the reply back numbers on the price point and the ways that you do them? Well, and then just begin to refine it.
To that point, I mean, if I don't have an image in my email, I'm not getting any, click rate. And so I played around with this. I'm continuing to try to get more data out of it as to whether I'm just working with a static image or whether I want that static image in my email to click back into my website so that I can see them engage.
Yeah. Rather than I can tell you, I think it's all testing, because every database is different. I will tell you, I had talked to Sharon a little bit about this. If you notice, like the reminder email that I've been sending on Friday mornings, I don't have any images. I stopped doing videos. I stopped doing that. And my open rates have actually gone up on those. So again, I'm just testing data-wise the same way I would suggest you do it, Alan, on that stuff.
One last question. Can you do a carousel as a reel in Instagram?
Well, no, it's a carousel. So basically, it'll just flip through.
It's going to be like
I will tell you, this carousel will outperform. I mean, Instagram told us that it will absolutely outperform. And Josh, if you want to add to this, you can do it with music and things, but basically what you're doing is the carousel will absolutely outperform a single photo or a group of photos, because Instagram has told us that it is a more interactive. And if it is a post that they feel like will be good for the people that they put it in front of the first time and they don't do it, they will double up and put it in front of them again and flip to the second slide for you.
But reels have more reach outside of your database, though, right?
Josh, you want to jump in here? I'd love to hear what I see you itching on this.
So reels will get more reach with non-followers. Carousels, if you add music in Instagram and they do well as a carousel, Instagram will flip them to the reels feed to get you second exposure with them.
Okay, good.
So
that's what carousel, I need to hear.
But it has to have music from Instagram's app. You can't like put music on from your own thing. And but it only does that if it does well. The carousel does well in your feed, because carousels will get more reach within your feed, but reels will get more reach out of your feed.
All right, thanks. That's what I need to know.
Hey, Alan, this is what's great about this. This is why masterminds are great. You know,
Yeah.
Josh is expert on that. So that was great. Thank you, Josh, for jumping in. Anybody else wants to jump in, please do this as we go through this. I'm gonna hit a few more of these, then I'm gonna bring some other people in as well. So lead sources with no upfront fees. This is one of those where what is it that you can do that won't cost you anything for leads up front? There's a few sites, okay? Redfin, it's different in every market, but you can check. Redfin has a partner agent program where they have more leads than they have agents that can follow up with those. We've had some success with agents with Redfin's partner agent program. Every one of these programs has specifics. Just research those to see if it fits. Y'all, Rocket Homes partner agent network has done really well for some of the agents that I work with as well, where Rocket has them already qualified for the loan. They have to use their lender, obviously. And it is a very tedious follow-up process as far as to keep them in the loop. But we've gotten some great leads from that. Also, if you are in a VA area, Veterans United Realty, it's tough in some areas, but if you concentrate in a veterans focused VA type loan type of environment, they have a great network as well. Also, Agent Pronto, more on the listing side, more of you sharing who you are. But there's 4 sites. If you're looking for sites on that you don't have to pay for the leads up front, you actually pay them a referral on the back end. These are a few sites that have those capabilities. Now, I will tell you, with most of these sites, the first leads you get are not going to be the best leads. And what they're doing is they want to see that you will communicate to them about the follow-up with those folks, and they want to see if you can close them. So even with some of these things, you want to make sure that you just follow up with the ones that you really want and make sure that you're communicating, because every time you close one, you get better leads from that group. Because listen, they don't get paid if you don't close them. So they're looking for closers. And this is not a everybody gets a trophy. This is closers are going to get better and more leads. Okay. So make sure you're doing your communication. You're following up with those folks if you're going to utilize one of these. Geographical farming. Look, I mean, we can go into this like crazy. I did an interview with a guy last week, Craig Durant, who's one of the best I've seen at it. Key things you want to make sure of when you're choosing an area. No dominant agent in the area. You want to make sure the numbers make sense. In other words, if you could take 10% of that and you're figuring up, I like to just use the $2 per, if we're doing just traditional geographic farming. I'm going to give you a little spin on that here in just a second. So obviously, Josh, if you're here, go ahead and get queued up because I'm going to come to you on some of the other stuff here. Do the numbers that make sense. Make sure that if I can just take one listing, I break even. That's one that you might want to consider. If 10% of the market makes me the 4 to 5x on my investment, hey, that's one you want to take a good hard look at if it doesn't have a dominant agent. Also, consistency is key. So you need to have a plan of action before you just start on this and just say, well, I'm going to send them a letter and see what happens. Now, you need to have a standard plan for the next 6 to 12 months of how you're going to follow up with that neighborhood and what you're going to do to add value to that group. And then just build on your wins. Make sure you're sharing your just listed, your just sold, your open houses, that you're communicating when you're going to be in the neighborhood. Do everything you can to have touch points with all those folks in there. And I want to go into digital farming. Josh, are you here? Josh Hallmark, are you here? Or Ginger?
Yeah, I'm here, Jimmy.
Hey, Josh, I would love for you to share what you've been doing. I'm going to give a background story, what happened and how I got started with this. And then, Josh, I'd love to share to see how you're grabbing these email addresses. So here's what happened to me. Over here on 30A, I've been doing this a long time, y'all. I'm going to win over half my life, 31 years. Well, back in the day, there were only a few places we could sell. We had these little townhomes over here, Beechwood Villas, that I sold a ton of back in the 90s because that was all we had to sell down here. And so I had a old client of mine. I said, not old, I mean, a client from years ago of mine who had called me to list her property. And she said, I got it listed as a little 1-bedroom condo. And she said, hey, Jimmy, she forwarded an email to me and said, hey, Jimmy, I just got this email from the HOA. Need to come in from the back door because it looks like they're going to be paving, the parking lot for us next week. I said, great. I look up at the top of that email and the HOA had not blind copied. It said name, unit number, email address. I said, ooh, y'all should have gave that to me. Now listen here. Don't spam anybody. That's not what I did, okay? I'm going to give you exactly what I did. But what I did is I took all those names and I started on a monthly basis because, look, the biggest thing with geographical farming is the expense of the direct mail. When you have the email addresses, the cost goes to zero. It's just a matter of you doing the work, okay? So I started sending these emails out. And it was the same messaging every month. So for that one, it was Beechwood Villas, May sales update. Beechwood Villas, June sales update every month. I recorded my screen, bomb. You can do Zoom party of one, whatever you want to do. I had the MLS details pulled up on the active pending sold. And I had a cover image with a play button where it was the video going to that. And then I had 4 specific paragraphs. One was current market environment, and I would give an update on what was going on. Sold this month, under contract this month, came to market this month. Then I did a bottom paragraph that just said, hey, I'm glad to be your resource. If there's anything I can do or any questions you have about your place, feel free to reach out. I didn't even ask them if they want to sell. I mixed the messaging every other month where it would be like, hey, listen, if you're curious about your value. I sent this out the first 2 months. My open rate on the first one I did was 78%. Stupid high, because it was very specific to an owner of a property in a neighborhood, okay? And in this case, a townhome or condo. Make sure you're having that where it's consistent. The thing that I did is those first 2 months, I got no responses. And I was like, man, what am I doing wrong? The third month, first one. Hey, I got a friend of mine coming down. They love our place. They'd like to buy a place. Sold. Next month, 2 people. Hey, we're just kind of curious, thinking about selling our place. Can you give us an updated value? Listed one, sold it. Then I'm leading back with the just listed, just sold, all these things. About 5 months into doing this, it was like a friggin' ATM, y'all. Every single month I would send it out, I was getting somebody in that neighborhood, and it was costing me $0. Once I had that email list, I did that. Josh, you want to talk about what y'all have been doing in the unique way you've been grabbing these email addresses?
Yeah, so we basically just subscribe to. We have probably about 20,000 people total in our MailChimp, but we've added quite a few in the last 6 months from Mojo Sales, which is it's just actually it's a calling software, but their data has been good for us, and so we have a brokerage on the Emerald Coast, and we've been able to identify homeowners. And then we have a brokerage in Auburn, Alabama, and I've been able to identify landowners. And so we've been shooting videos and specifically targeting those people. And then we've really tried to connect using BombBomb. We use YouTube as well. But another way, so that's getting lots of emails. Another way that I've been using Mojo, though, is I find out who the owner is of a property. I find their information, and then I shoot a personalized bomb to them. I actually have one I'll put in the link right here. This was a video that I shot the other day. I had a parcel of land that I sold or that I listed, and then I was able to get another listing right beside it, and it went under contract quickly. So then I thought, okay, what are the other properties around this? And so I shot that video, and I found out that it was a doctor that owned this property, and I couldn't get his information. I could only get his work information. So I called talked to the receptionist, and she said, well, if you send me an email, I did not want her to know I was a salesman, right? I said, I've got important information about the family's land. And anyway, so I shot this video. The main thing I would say, I'm having some success with BombBomb, giving specific videos to specific people. But what I try to do, I even got a listing off of Facebook Marketplace, like 30 acres of land. By doing a video, I show a picture of them.
Rose up. Josh is up there in Auburn, got that Skylink, internet. It must be cloudy up in Auburn this morning. Josh, when you come back, this happened yesterday when we were on a call. Josh, there you are. There he is. I told him you got that Skylink, got that cloud cover,
What did you hear me say?
I heard you say that you sent the email to that, to the receptionist, I believe is where we were. Maybe.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I just make sure when I send bomb, those first 3 seconds
they're critical. I'm gonna fill in the gaps here on this. Because Josh is coming and going. Let me, Josh, it kind of came and go. Hey,
I'm going to switch internet sources.
Okay, perfect. And I'll come back to you. So let me say this. The beauty of this is when we're talking about digital farming is Mojo has actually been pretty accurate on getting these. Again, let me just say this. The email addresses are pretty much, public information now. Again, this is one of those. Do as, don't just spam somebody because you get in trouble there. But make sure you're giving value. Make sure you're doing the things right. And from that standpoint, Josh, you've done that with some other condos and things down here along the beach as well, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's great.
The thing I was saying just a minute ago, Jimmy, I feel like it's really important. Like someone did this to me, a marketer did this to me where they were in a loom or a bomb. It was a bomb where I could see their face, but in the backdrop, they had our website pulled up. And that got my attention so strongly. I couldn't not watch that video. And so anytime I'm doing a video with Bomb, I really try to include something that's personal to that. Like if it's a picture of that person or if I'm on their land, I'm showing that parcel in the background so that they'll recognize what I'm talking about and be interested in what I have to say. But
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
doctor, he emailed me and called me. Doctors aren't known for giving you phone calls, but so he quickly responded to me.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is what Josh has done too is like those, I showed y'all that video he did about the buyers. He took that, about the buyer need. He took that and put it on YouTube and just did, Josh, you want to talk about, did you do like a circular area that you targeted with those and utilized it on YouTube? Because I think this is something we forget is that so many people are watching on TV, and I want you to tell that story if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's right. So shoot a video. What we try to do is a long form video on a listing or a buyer's as bait and I did a buyer's as bait video. I put it on YouTube and then I did a paid promotion to a radius. And so just right around. I also sent that out to landowners, but I promoted that and then I've got calls on that video where people say, "Hey, I saw it." And actually a gentleman, an older gentleman said, "I saw you on my TV." And he was watching YouTube TV on his television at night and I came up there and he's like, "I have some land that I would like for you to come look at."
Hey, and we're even doing this like with some of the longer form videos, we're utilizing QR codes on our YouTube videos now because we found that over 50% of the views are actually happening on TV, on YouTube TV. So don't be afraid to utilize that. And Josh, I'm gonna keep moving, but be available if you don't mind if people have got questions in just a little bit. But what I would just say is if you're looking for the freshest, newest way to do geographical farming, if you're still doing this, this is a way to add a layer to what you're doing. And if you haven't started, this is a great way to get into that as well. So let me keep moving here. All right. Share stories of success by making the process and the people the hero. I'm going to show a couple of these, okay? Lindley, are you on? I didn't even tell you I was going to share this if you are. Look, when you have a sale, the best thing you can do is to let people know because it shows. Okay, Lindley, I'm going to share this, just the beginning of this, and then I want you to tell a little bit of the story on this if you don't mind, because the biggest thing when you have these is the standard just listed, just sold is not as effective as it used to be. What is key is to make the process and the people heroes. So I'm going to play this real quick, and then Lindley, if you'll jump in with me.
Our client sold their house for almost $700,000 more than Zillow said it was worth. 35% more. And there are 6 things that happened that I'm going to tell you about, and number 6 is my favorite.
All right, Lindley, just so you guys know, I'll give kind of a setup here. Lindley goes into 6 things. She talks about the first, them reaching out and putting together a plan. She talks about staging the house. She talks about pricing correctly. She talks about negotiating. She talks about getting them the deal, not only price-wise they wanted, but the terms they wanted. And then instead of having it where she says she actually reads the actual what the reviews they did on there, and the buyer did this, and so it was a great way where she made the process the hero. You want to share a little bit of the results on some of this, Lindley? I'd love to hear from you.
Sure. So what I'll say is we always ask our clients for testimonials, and I just feel like it's so hokey to just post a testimonial on my social. It feels so self-serving. So I decided to tell the story of the sale and through the story, then share their testimonial. And in this particular case, it was cool because not only my client wrote me a testimonial, but the buyer wrote a testimonial. So it felt like the testimonial was the ribbon on the story that I just shared instead of me patting myself on the back. You know what I mean? So it was
It's really good.
just a quick video about the process. And Jimmy, every time you share this, it reminds me I have 20 other transactions that I could do this video for, and I just need to sit down and do it because it's been shared, it's been viewed, I don't know, 5,000 times, maybe more than 5,000 times. It's been shared a ton, and it lets the client be the hero instead of me being the hero.
Yeah, look, I will say this. If you want to see like some of these examples, follow Lindley, follow Josh, follow Courtney, we're about to hear from. A lot of these things is taking what they're doing and putting your own local spin on it is huge. Lindley, I just couldn't help but share this again just because it's just so smart in my opinion. So thanks for always jumping in and helping on this stuff as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. So I've shown this letter before. If you're looking from a direct mail piece, instead of doing the just listed, this is the Did You Hear About Your Neighbor letter. This is something where you can, again, make the process the hero. And what Noah did here is he said, here's the story. Now, this is folded in a way that the first top half is what they open first. Did you hear about your neighbor? I'm going to tell you something. People nosy, y'all. They're going to open that. They're going to read this because they want to know about their neighbor. And then they're going to go in and they're going to say, see the story. He utilizes the QR code for them to be able to see the video. Buzzworthy launch, multiple offers, masterful negotiation. And then through their process, they were able to get the highest price. This is a perfect way to get away from the typical thing that people are doing, which is showing the just listed, just sold. I don't know about y'all. I did it yesterday. I got home. I had 3 just listed, just sold. I'm just ripping them and throwing them in the garbage. And I'm in the business, so imagine what the consumers are doing. So it's a unique way to do that and make those people. All right. Next up is to build a personal brand. And I'm going to bring in a couple things here on this. And Courtney, if you're here, I'm going to share my screen here again, just to get out of this mode and actually go in and show a couple things with exactly what Courtney's doing. Now, this is another one of those where I got to tell you, be authentically who you are. Courtney does a tremendous job. She's utilizing TikTok, and she is just finding a huge audience over there. So I want to, Courtney, you want to give a little background, and then I'll play a couple of videos on kind of how you got started on this and kind of what you're seeing building this personal brand.
Yeah. Hi everybody. This is fun.
Hey.
Yeah, so I got on TikTok during COVID because my kids were on it. And I always thought I was not as sociable as apparently I am. And I call myself the lazy go-getter. So I'm always looking for a way to hack getting clients, and got on there and did the dances, and the world was like, nah, don't do that. And then I started just talking about my real estate experience in the very candid way that apparently I tell stories, and people really connected with it. And last year I had 71 referrals from TikTok. I do between $15 to $20 million a year just off of TikTok. This year I'm sitting at 54 referrals since January from TikTok. I got my first listing 2 days ago from ChatGPT. That's new. Never had a listing. Literally typed in, who should I hire? And my name came up. And all I can say is all of this that I'm doing on the internet, because chat is reading the internet, is literally bringing that to people through chat. So can't speak highly. I'm 48-year-old suburban mom in North Dallas. So if I can do that as a perspective, I'm not an influencer, but damn, it's brought about some really cool opportunities. So absolutely love it.
Well, this is another one of those. This is how I found Courtney, is literally, it popped up in my social. We had never met. I reached out and I said, hey, this is really cool what you're doing. We got doing this. We did an Inman article where she got, featured on that. Listen, this is a perfect example of Courtney did not start this to build a personal brand. But the personal brand that has now come out of this is the most valuable, in my opinion, Courtney, is the most valuable thing she has right now, because she literally has a loyal following because she is authentically who she is. This is the thing. It acts as a natural filter. Courtney, you want to speak to like some of the times when you post certain things, the people start they come out at you. And in reality, they're helping you. You think that they're hurting you. They're not, You want to speak to that a little bit.
They do. I have learned in my 48 years that if I'm going to make a statement on the internet, I better make sure I'm right before I make it. So Anybody who comes out, I just did one the other day and people claimed I had a code of ethics violation. And it's amazing how many people don't know the code of ethics, but that was a whole nother thing, but went viral. And it was such an opportunity to set myself apart from those people. And I have a tendency to pop off a little bit. I'm not one of those who's like, go with God, ma'am. I'm I'm a little bit like, I'll bring it down with me. And so I have to, sometimes I have to filter myself, but I find my people, I always say, you know, trash takes itself out. So if you don't like me and we don't connect, cool, I wasn't going to work with you anyways. And it's really just, I have fun with it. I really have fun with it. And I think that is the key. And people, and Sharon says it too, they read your energy before they hear your words. So if you're not having fun with it and you don't have a good idea of who you are and what you have to say, you are not going to connect with anyone. So I do, when I talk about social media, I talk about that a lot, is who are you? What do you stand for? And be unapologetically that. I promise you, you will find your people. We don't need to appease everybody because we'll end up broke. I mean, my desire to not appease anybody or everybody has really financially benefited me.
Yeah. And I will say this, this is a perfect example. If I were to try to do what Courtney does, I would attract the wrong client for me but they can see through it. The ideal client for Courtney is different than it is for me. And so consequently, you have to figure out what it is and be authentically who you are. I will show you this. And I think one of the things to understand too is that, and I know we were taught in the business, just listed, just sold. Another one. I'm telling you, people cannot relate to your successes. They connect with you on your vulnerabilities and those things. Courtney, I'm going to share this one and just the first part of this, and then I'll cut it off. And I want you to share about kind of what you felt like this did. Okay. Let me just get it started here.
12 years ago, when I decided to get my real estate license, I had $237 in my bank account. That's a bank account that I shared with my husband, Gabe. We had 2 babies and 2 failing dry cleaning businesses in Frisco, Texas. We had both come from 6-figure jobs. I was a corporate trainer for.
I'm going to stop it there. Listen, I would encourage you to go see this because can you not hear the authenticity in her voice? You know what I mean? You can tell she's speaking from the heart. And it's great what she does here is because, let me just say this. They're probably her ideal client, especially with the business she's doing right now. Odds are they have struggled at some point financially. Haven't we all? And they have had to overcome that, and they immediately connected with her. Courtney, you want to talk about kind of this video and what did it do, or what were some of the reactions you got to that?
I am very aware that I can be quite bold sometimes, and maybe a little bit dicky if I do it too often. And I have to remind people that I am not on a soapbox, that I have had my own struggles getting there. It's funny, I was thinking just before you played this specific video, what I found is I've been doing this for 12 years, and as I've been more successful, those just sold, just all of those things, people start counting your money. People think, well, figure out the price of the house and they will multiply it by a 3% real quick and think that's what's in your bank account. And you will start removing yourself from people and you don't even know you're doing it. People want you to be successful, just not more than they are. And so when I find I share my story, because that's why I don't post those anymore, those just solds and all that, because I felt like it was separating me from people. I wasn't part of what they were doing. But when I share my story, and you know, I used to weigh 130 pounds more. I'm 6 feet tall than I did got on TikTok. And it's been a journey. I shared that I had gastric bypass 3.5 years ago. I have had more business just from saying that from people who've also had it. And I think we have a tendency to see things, you know, maybe the car or the bag or whatever it is. And they think it's just, oh, it's just easy for her. It's just easy for her. It's not. I mean, I fought back. I had a very big high profile job, lost everything, moved in with my mother-in-law. We had $0 in the bank. And I bought my real estate license through a $99 Groupon or $199. And me sharing, actually this the other day, I reshared this video. And some lady came back and she goes, I was about to unfollow you because I thought, you know, you're a little sharp, but now I know you're a person. Like now I'll stick around. And so removing the shame. my story allows me to be free with all of the other things, because nobody's going to say anything to me that I've not said worse to myself or have not heard before. So bring it, like I own it.
Yeah, that's good. Another thing is don't be afraid to do something that's controversial. I mean, obviously, like Courtney said, know that you're right or have a belief that you are. I'm going to play this video, Courtney, just the beginning of this, just so that people can hear it, and then we'll go into this one, okay? Let me get started with this in the beginning.
They knocked on his damn door. So this agent thought she was probably doing a really good job for her clients and being really aggressive, getting them what they want. But she crossed the line, and odds are if she puts in an offer on my client's house, we're not going to want to work with her. You showed your cards, ma'am, and we don't like them. If you don't know who I am, I'm Courtney Benson. I have a top.
So, Courtney, I'll just give a brief overview, and then I want you to talk about the thing. She had an agent that called her that said, "Hey, could we show this house?" And she said, "No, the people work from home. They can't. You need to set an appointment. Well, we want to see it now." This was also a situation where it was a coming soon listing, so there were some issues here that they could not be shown. These people walked up, drove, and she asked if she could drive by, and she said, "Well, I can't stop you from driving by, but yeah, whatever." The people got out of the car with their clients, walked around the house, and she knocked on the door, which then the seller is furious with Courtney. So Courtney shared her emotions of this. And Courtney, what was the response to this, and how did this play out?
The response was crazy. I had a lot of people saying, "Well, you can't dictate what the seller does," and all. Well, I guide them, I advise them, and my seller had the same sentiment. Anyone who would do that, we don't want to work with them. But what it did is I started getting phone calls, because I have my phone number in my bio, because we make it way too hard for people to reach us. So I got text messages from agents who were like, "Girl, preach, saw your video, like that's amazing." And I got calls from buyers and sellers directly who were like, if you talk like that and you're that passionate about defending your client, I want to work with you, because I want someone who's passionate about defending me." And the way I film my videos, I don't batch stuff. I know it can be easier to do that every once in a while, but whatever emotion I have in the moment is when I film. So I was actually at a different walkthrough, and I was dealing with that at the walkthrough. So I was a little riled up about it, but that's when I did the video, is because that emotion comes out, because I'm living it right there in the moment. And funny enough, that saying that he knocked on the damn door, I think was like the third or fourth thing I said, but I moved it up to the front. So when you're looking at your videos and you're editing them, maybe the hook isn't for like 30 seconds in. I just clipped it and moved it to the front, and then reordered my video.
Yeah, so good. I want to do one more, Courtney, if that's okay. I want to do this one. This is kind of, and again, don't be afraid to be controversial on some of this. Let me just say this. This was something that I agree with Courtney on, but you'll notice she did get some backlash on some of this, but she was able to defend it. And by doing this again, it showed some of her clients. I'm going to play it, and then Courtney, I'll let you share a little more.
For a seller ever again. My name's Courtney Benson. I have a top producing real estate team here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area over the last 11 years. There's a story that's been going around about an agent who left feedback on behalf of her buyer and said it was priced too high, and then made some comments about the house. Well, the buyer decided to come back, write an offer, ended up going under contract. The seller was so pissy about the feedback that they didn't negotiate anything, and ended up costing the buyer more. And they found out this information, and I guess sued the agent because of it.
So, Courtney, you want to share a little bit about this? You kind of go through a lot of this and talking about wine, all that, but what was the reaction to this?
So the video you showed prior, that got me buyer and seller referrals direct. This video got me referrals from agents from out of state. So I'm about 60% agent referral from out of state. This one, I got it because I got a lot of direct messages that were like, "Oh my God, I completely get it. I understand where you're coming from." This was filmed quite a while ago, and I've since seen the video remade a couple times over. So I think I was one of the first ones to come out and just say that after I read some, I don't remember where I read that article, and then people were like, "That didn't exist." It got picked up by the Houston Association of Realtors. Like it went like viral across the US. I had no idea until I started getting calls. But this video specifically allowed me to connect with other agents, because I'm like, "Look, I feel your pain. Maybe this is something we don't think about." it's one of those irritations that we don't talk about. Like, I gave feedback, and then the agent came back and was like, asked me what's wrong with me. Why can't I manage my clients' expectations? Like, what? How does that happen when you give feedback? Aren't you being helpful? And like these little things that happen to us throughout the day, and we kind of brush them off, and we don't realize that they are stories, and those are stories that connect. So I have stories that I share that connect with agents specifically, and I have stories that I share with buyers and sellers that connect with them specifically. But every time you watch a video, you get something of me. Like, all of my content is real estate based, except for Sunday. I do a Sunday gratitude post, is 20 seconds of behind the scenes of my life, but I also include what I did with real estate. But when you're looking to get referrals from agents who are out of state, or this is their opportunity to see who you are. I come across confident, well spoken, I have an opinion, and they want to refer me because they know I'm going to have that same passion with their clients, and I'm going to get them to the finish line, which gets them paid as well. So I'm just promoting that. And there's always something that you can take off of a video. Like, again, we look at what's behind me. You see parts of my house, you see where I am, you see things like that. So you're constantly learning who I am as a person, where I am, and what I'm doing without me saying it. So you don't need the video of you at the lake with your kids after the day before you just did a sold post. People that doesn't connect with people. They don't know who you are enough to care about that, so they'll just scroll on you. So as you're talking about real estate being your passion, you're constantly showing them who you are by what's around you. If you got a bunch of shit piled up on your desk and your house looks like crazy, they're gonna see that inadvertently. So always be aware that you're telling a story based off of where you're filming that video as well. So it's
Such good stuff. Yeah.
I-
Hey,
I've got a
Courtney.
couple questions for Courtney, if you mind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One is, what is your demographic for your leads that you're getting through TikTok?
me, old ladies in the suburbs.
Isn't that crazy? This is the thing,
TikTok?
Alan.
On
Yeah,
TikTok.
I will tell you, Alan. I will tell you, and this is confession time. I'm addicted. It's ridiculous.
Well,
here I am.
I mean,
in my
I'm
50s.
working the second home market vacation. I mean, pretty much where Jimmy's at down here on 38. I mean, I'm looking at figuring it's just old people that have a lot of disposable income. I don't see them being on TikTok.
Oh, they are.
Disagree?
They are.
They're not
They
commenting.
absolutely are.
But it seems like the value that I'm seeing here is that you're using TikTok more as a referral medium in terms of meeting other agents, whereas I'm using like LinkedIn to try to meet other realtors. I'm seeing very little impact from LinkedIn in that regard as a
They
referral network.
You are. So I say that about just buyers and sellers in general. Such a big purchase, right? It's a big chunk of money. You want to know that the person that you're entrusting to help you has an opinion. You can see, and I was talking about this yesterday. We've worked our spheres for so long, and at some point, like, you've tapped them so many times. What I have found, because I've been tracking this, what's really unique is that I am becoming people's sphere, and they've never met me. Like, they watch me at 2 o'clock in the morning when they can't sleep. Courtney's there, and when you see my face, I'm probably gonna say something that'll either piss you off, make you laugh, or make you think. And so the minute you see my face, it's almost comforting. You're like, oh, there she is. There she is. And so they're seeing me more than they're encountering the people in their sphere. And so now I'm like for people's sphere, because I have a connection with these people, even if they've never met me. But you're constantly seeing my personality, things that I have to say, my opinions, my knowledge of the contract, negotiating, whatever it is. And so you really almost know me, and it's very real to who I am. I'm the same person. At least that's what people tell me, like, oh, good, you're the same in person as you are on film. The reach is so incredible. I have a 74% of the people that watch me. I have just over 44,000 people on TikTok are women my age. And I have like 25% men or something, like, I don't know what the other percentage, but that's what TikTok tells me. And that's what I get. Yeah.
And Alan, you've got to understand also is, because Courtney, I've had this conversation when she and I were first talking. We were just off air talking. I was like, "Tell me about your CRM." She's like, "I don't have one." I should do it more. I should do better. And I was like, no, what you don't realize is that, you know, the whole idea of a CRM is to stay top of mind, to provide value. And what's happened now is social media, YouTube, video content, it is doing the nurturing. And it's not doing it in a drip on, nobody wants to be dripped on, a drip campaign. You know what I mean? This is a way that she is actually just, without even realizing it, it is doing all the nurturing for her. Her average time period from the time that people reach out to her to them going under contract is ridiculously short. You know, I've talked about that with like Noah Escobar on YouTube. 17 days from the day they reach out to him till they go under contract on those that go under contract on average. So the nurturing, you have to understand, the reason why they're ready to do business with him and the reason why people are ready to refer and do business with Courtney is because they have been they feel, even if she hasn't, they feel they know her because they have literally spent so much time with her already that when she shows up and she's exactly who she was on there, oh, they have a comfort level to go ahead and make bold decisions for their personal financial life. Does that make sense, Courtney? Do you want to add to that at all?
And another really cool side effect is they don't negotiate my commission.
Yes.
Yes. It's almost like they don't even have the nerve to ask. And a lot of people will actually ask if it's okay if I work with them. Like,
yeah.
This probably isn't your price point, but would you mind taking me on? Like, it's wild. It's so cool. Like, I can't say enough. I absolutely love the platform. I'm on Instagram's giving me some love right now too. I'm doing a little bit better over there, but
quick question. That's what I wanted to, I wanted to ask. Are you cross to other platforms as well? Everything you post or mostly TikTok?
yeah, I cross post because again, I'm lazy, so I don't really see the reason to not do it. And I videos that don't do as well on TikTok for some reason do really well on Instagram and vice versa. And I edit and film everything in TikTok. Instagram makes me look like 10 years older. I don't like their filters. They're trying. I just film in TikTok. I edit in TikTok. If you post it to your stories and then save it, you can save it without the watermark, or I use an app called TickSave where I'll upload it to TickSave. It removes the watermark. I get to take whatever I wrote description and then send it on over to Instagram or, something like that.
The critical part is what Courtney said is make sure that you're not having the watermark. If you're starting with Instagram, don't post something that has the Instagram watermark on it on TikTok or vice versa, because it will it'll absolutely kill all of your reach on those. And I will tell you again, it goes back to testing, and just see how your audience responds. I can tell you my audience would respond differently if I did content like Courtney than the way hers would. So consequently, you have to just authentically be yourself. And the algorithm has never been as good as it is today. So when you're asking Instagram or TikTok, the answer is yes. It's both. I mean, in reality. And look, you may be, so Richard, I'll use y'all as an example. Your content may do better on Instagram than it does on TikTok because of the type of content you do. You just have to test it to figure that out. But I will tell you, if you're telling yourself that the demographic is different on TikTok than it is anywhere else, it's actually probably more focused in on the right demographic for you than Instagram will be. Just the algorithm is better. That's the reason why you can build an audience so much faster there, is because it's irrelevant about who you reach out to and what you do. We're seeing some of the folks I'm working with on Instagram now. It is getting better. We're seeing 1,600 followers having 500 comments. Well, that's not all their audience. It's reaching the right audience. And so now I would just say, especially as we continue to go forward, utilizing both or all of those. And I will tell you, Alan, LinkedIn's doing well for others. Don't miss out on LinkedIn. It's getting better. It's a different deal. It's more of a print media than a video right now, which I think that'll change.
Yeah, I use it to post articles on, and then I take those articles and then repurpose them to my blog on my website. So, and try to reach out to professionals, lawyers, bankers, financiers, try to work that angle.
All right, this is my personal take real quick, and then Courtney, I want to hear from you if you don't mind.
Okay,
but my personal take on the articles, and especially because of how easy it is to write articles, SEO optimized articles now with AI, that the value of those is diminishing because there's so much more out there that even if you do it perfect, you're competing with more people and more articles on the same type of subject and content. So if you're going to do those, Alan, I would just encourage you to get very, very specific, almost niche down, not just a general 5 things to do before you sell your house in the spring. Get very specific on a location and make sure that it's very, very specific from that kind of stuff.
Well,
Courtney,
I do SEO it to make sure that it's, in that when I'm using chat GPT, that it's using the, the SEO words, Forgotten Coast, Mexico Beach, St. George Island, so that it's working in that fashion now. Hopefully that works.
Yeah, it's good. I would just tell you that, I think that is something that obviously there's a lot of people, flooding that portion. If you're in an area where nobody else is doing it's great, but you're in an area that most people aren't, but I think just keep an eye on it. Courtney, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to give you guys one other piece to think about, because sometimes the content I make feels scary to people because it is so raw with emotion or stories. I have a good friend. She's actually on the call or on our call right now. Her name's Lacey Brucci. She just posted a comment over there. You guys should go follow her. She's on TikTok. She has like 3 times the amount of followers I do, but we do completely different content. We get she's saying 15 to 20 million a year just off of TikTok. But she speaks to investors, and she's very, she went to SMU. Her brain, I went to UNLV, if that tells you anything. So I was in Las Vegas, she's in Dallas. So her brain is much more analytical than mine. So if you prefer content that is, you can get statistics, you can give things like that, go follow Lacey. And I'll type her name in here too, because that also might be something that's up your alley. She gets incredible results, and she's huge in SEO and understanding it. Because I like to tell people you don't have to do like I'm doing. There's so many other ways that you can get similar to same results. You just have to find your person who's having that success and watch them, and then tailor it to what you're doing and who you are as a leader.
Yeah, that's great. I will tell you, I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. We're going to hang around if anybody wants to hang around and answer some questions, but I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance. Have a great weekend. And listen, this is that season, summertime. People are busy. Things are happening. Take advantage of it. Hey, where I grew up in the country, they used to say, make the hay while the sun's shining. Sun's shining, y'all. I mean, this is the time, so let's take advantage of it. And follow Josh, follow Courtney, follow Josh Reeves. He was on here a little bit earlier. Make sure that you're utilizing all of these opportunities, Lindley, to see the examples that are out there and tailor it to your own business. And we will absolutely, I know you're gonna get some results. So I'm gonna just stop the recording now. Again, we'll hang around, but have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.